Okay, so this is Bluetooth game controller CCS project. So I already did the Bluetooth game controller CCS project, and I'm just going to do a code review. So for the HID emulator keyboard example program, we just um send one HID command and store at this one array element. So at buff2. So you can send up to 6 HID commands. So here, from buff2 to buff7. So for the Bluetooth game controller, so we use buff2 for the analog joystick X, and we're going to send the HID command, HID keyboard left arrow, and HID keyboard right arrow. Buff3 is for the analog joystick Y, and we're going to send the HID command, HID keyboard up arrow, and HID keyboard down arrow. For buff4 is for the A button, and we're going to send the HID keyboard J. So for buff5 is for B button, and we're going to send the HID keyboard X. For buff6 is for the select and start button, and we're going to send the HID keyboard spacebar and HID keyboard return. Okay, so this HID game controller send report, we're going to call periodically when there is Bluetooth connection to the laptop. So we create a one-shot clock with period of 80 milliseconds. So this clock will start when there is uh, when the Bluetooth game controller is paired with the laptop. So it will start, and then what will happen is it will go to this clock handler, which will pass the event ID and go to the main task to process that event. And then it will go to here. It will do the periodic event and then restart the clock. So at the periodic event, it will read the joystick and then send report. Okay, so we reviewed the HID joystick read. So we read the ADC channel 0 for X and ADC channel 1 for Y. So this is the joystick test data. So for X analog, idle is 1553. So here, so we just put a range, so it's not exactly 1553. We put a range of 1553 plus minus 20. Okay, so we set key none. So this is not a HID commands, it's just 0. And then for left is 5. So we put a range greater than 0, less than 20 is left. So we set the HID command for key left. And then for right is 3136. We set a range of 3136 plus minus 20. So we set the HID command for key right. For y axis, idle is 1570. Well, we set a range for 1570 plus minus 20. So we set the buff 3 to key none. For down is 5. So we set a range of ADC. Okay, so greater than 0 and less than 20. Okay, so for we set the head command for key down. For up is 3136, so we set a range. Here is 31 set. I put 3137. Um, so we set a range of 3137 minus 20 plus 20, and then we set the buff 3 to head command for key up. Okay, so the buff 2 and buff 3 is always updated with the uh, head command. So okay, so this periodic event occurs every 80 milliseconds when there is Bluetooth connection between the Bluetooth game controller and the laptop, and then it would read the analog joysticks X and Y, and then it will send the head commands. I mean, it will send the head commands using head dev report. Okay. Now we're going to review the button press. So for detecting the button press, we also use the board key. So okay, so just I set the key pins config. So just going to review. So the initial property of the DIO25, DIO26, DIO27, DIO28. So it's internally set to pin pull up. So means when you read the pin, it's high. And then when you press the button, it's shorted to ground. So the signal will transition from high to low. And then we detect that negative edge interrupt and then process it. So okay. So from here, it will go to key press handler, callback, and then it will uh, process the press key. So for key Z, it will set the buff for the key Z head command. For key X, it will set the buff 5 for uh, key X head command. For key select, it will set the buff 6 for key select head command. For key start, it would set the buff 6 for key start head command. So when this periodic event is happening, the the buff 4 is buff 5 and buff 6 is updated when there is a button press interrupt. So to review again, so this heat game controller periodic event is called every 80 milliseconds when the Bluetooth game controller is connected to the laptop. So it would read the joystick analog X and Y, and then this the buff 4, buff 5, and buff 6 will be updated when there is uh, button press interrupt, and then it we would call head game controller send report, which will send the buff 0 to buff 7 using head dev report. So after sending the buff 0 to buff 7, we set the buff 4, buff 5, buff 6 for keys to key none. Okay. So what I will do is rebuild all and flash to the Bluetooth game controller prototype.
Okay, so I already flashed the X file, and this is the setup for the Bluetooth game controller. So first thing to do is pair the Bluetooth game controller to the laptop. Okay, now it's paired. Now it is paired and connected. So I'm going to play Mike Tyson's Punch Out